Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time on this channel, my name is Dolapo and I film about fully funded scholarships for international students and various global opportunities around the world for international students. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I think a lot of people might benefit from, and I'm sure you've seen from the title, it's how to deal with scholarship rejections. Now, I believe that at this stage or at this time of the year is when a lot of people would have already gotten, their response back regarding their scholarship applications. Not everyone, but at least most people. And that's because they probably applied at the beginning of the year, hoping for a positive outcome, but unfortunately they didn't scale through and they didn't receive the scholarship. So this video is for you who feels really rejected. You feel like you've done everything that you could, you feel like you tried your best, and it just seems like your best wasn't good enough. First of all, I want to say that you having a scholarship rejection shouldn't make you think less than yourself. So it doesn't mean that you're not smart. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that one, it's probably not God's time for you to have that scholarship, or two, there are just some things that you just need to work on your scholarship application. So the decision that was made doesn't tell on you as a person. It's just your application. So maybe there are some things you need to work on. Maybe you need to write your scholarship essay better. Maybe there are some experiences you need to gain, some knowledge, some skills you need to have just to kind of stand out amidst the competition that are out there for fully funded scholarships. So this video is to encourage you, and for someone who's actually been rejected for almost 20 scholarships, I can tell you for a fact that it's not easy to receive those scholarship rejections. But at the end of it, you do realize that there's some things that you would learn from that experience. Now, for many of you that have been following my channel for a while, you have probably heard about my scholarship testimony, and I would link the video to my scholarship testimony here so you can watch it if you haven't. And I've already shared several times of how I've been rejected for various scholarships, even PhD scholarships as well, master scholarships, fully funded, partially funded scholarships, you name it. I've been rejected for many of it. But then eventually, by the grace of God, I then received a fully funded scholarship to study a master's degree in public health and international development at the University of Sheffield in the United Kingdom. And one advice or one thing that I've learned from that experience of scholarship rejections is that sometimes it's probably not the best time yet for you to have that scholarship. And I'll give you a personal example. So when I started applying for scholarships in 2020, 2021, that was when I started getting the rejections and all of that. I didn't have any scholarship application experience prior to that. I didn't have any work experience. I was just literally graduating and then I started applying. So I didn't have work experience. I hadn't really built up most of my skills. It was my first time, I had to learn how to write scholarship essays using online sources like YouTube and, Google and things like that. And to be honest, I thought I was writing a beautiful scholarship essay, so I didn't give to anyone to kind of have a look at it, which was one of the mistakes I made. So when the scholarship rejections, they're coming, the emails, the unfortunately, I'm sorry you were not successful this time, maybe next time, those kind of things. I felt rejected. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like, okay, this is it. I'm not going to bother applying again. But then I got led by God to apply once again. That was in 2020, so end of 2021 / beginning of 2022. So this time around, I started to retrace my steps back, see what mistakes I made. I decided to look at my essays once again, and that was when I discovered some gaps in my essays, and some of those gaps were actually the work experience I didn't have. So when I got rejected the first time, I then started working, and in fact, as working as a medical doctor then gave me that experience I needed to be able to, study a master's or to be able to do well in my master's in public health, if I tell you the truth. Because most of the experiences I had, I was able to put it into my assignments during my master's, even into my dissertation and things like that. So I felt like if I had gotten the scholarship that first time I was applying for the scholarship, I would have probably struggled a lot in my master's, because there will be no experience to put in there. There will be no passion for the master's course I'm doing. To just be all because I wanted to just do a master's, I wanted to travel abroad. But the sole purpose of actually having that master's degree, I wouldn't have achieved it. And also, even the people that I met while I was still working in Nigeria, I wouldn't have been able to meet them, because honestly, God connected me to amazing people in that 1 year while I was working before I got my scholarship. So I'm just trying to tell you how sometimes when the Bible says, so if you're a Christian, you probably know this Bible passage that says that all things work together for your good. So it says that all things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose for their lives. So basically, everything that is happening in your life at this moment, you not getting the scholarship, is probably working out together for your good. Maybe there are things that God wants you to learn. Maybe there's some experiences that you need to gain to be able to excel in your master's or undergraduate course, whichever scholarship you're applying for. Maybe there are people that God wants to connect you, with at this season in your life, so that when you then do your masters or when you're done with your master, these are the people that God will then remind you about this connection. These are people that will help you at that other season of your life. So when things happen, I want you to understand sometimes they happen for your good. So don't take it as you're not good enough. Don't take it as you've tried your best and you want to give up. If you still feel led to continue applying next year, then please go ahead to apply. And what you will just do when you're applying the next time is to look at some of the mistakes that you made. Have people read your essays. It's very important, that because people can definitely see from another perspective. They can pick out some mistakes. They can pick out some grammatical errors that you might have missed out while you're writing your essays. Also, have a look at, if you're applying for a scholarship that you know that you don't fit the eligibility criteria, you need to have a look at that as well. So maybe the eligibility criteria is for you to have had 2 years of working experience, and maybe you just have 1 year left. So in that sense, just add another year of work experience. Do something or work in a field that is related to what you want to study, so that by the time you're submitting your application can stand out. The people or those who will be looking or reviewing your application can actually see that you have met the eligibility criteria. You have a lot to bring into your master's course. You have experiences to bring into your master's course that will also help you to excel. You already know how to build your networks, how to build your connections when you start your master's. That's why I keep using master's, because I did a master's, so that's why I keep using master's. But it's not only master's, even PhD, even undergraduate, whatever scholarships you're applying for. If you feel led to keep going, then please keep going. But this time around, don't go in blindly. So it's important that you learn from every mistake that you've made. And also, if you can, another thing I would advise is that try to get a feedback on your scholarship application. So if you got rejected for a scholarship application, you can reach out to the university or to the body that you applied to. Not all of them might have the chance or the opportunity to give feedbacks to every applicant, because there are probably thousands of applicants and not be able to give individual feedbacks, but you can always try. You never know. So send them an email. I'm sure there will be an email there, like probably the email that sent you the rejection news and all of that. So you can send an email to them and say, okay, can I have a feedback on my application? What are the things that probably did not make my application stand out for this particular scholarship? And you never can know, you could be lucky enough and you will receive a very positive, constructive feedback, and you can then apply that feedback into your next application. It's just the way we do for job applications as well. I want to always ask for feedback after a job application. So if I get any rejection from a job application, I reach out to the employers and I ask, okay, please can you give me feedback? Some of them do, some of them don't, but at least I'm able to apply that feedback into my next job application. So it works the same way with scholarship applications as well. So it's just important for you to just ask for that feedback, so that you have an idea of what you probably need to do in your next, or work on in your next application. So sometimes when you have scholarship rejections, as I said earlier, it's either it's not just the time yet, for you to have that scholarship, or it could also mean that it's just a time for you to reflect on yourself. Maybe there's some experiences you need to gain, some skills that you need to gain as well, some connections that you need to have, so that when it's time for you to then have that scholarship, or when it's time for you to receive that scholarship, you can utilize all of the experiences and the skills and the connections that you have to really explore and scale higher in that season of your life. So like I always say, that everything works together for your good, whether good or bad. So I don't want you to see this scholarship rejection as meaning that you are not good enough. I don't want you to feel dejected. It's important that, you know, for example, one of the mistakes I made in my previous applications was that I didn't have an IELTS exam, for example, and of course the criteria says that you need to have an English language proficiency. But because I thought that, you know, having been taught in English during my undergraduate degree was going to be sufficient enough for me to apply for scholarships, but apparently it wasn't, and that was because the criteria was that they need you to provide something, a proof, a certificate. And I didn't have my IELTS, I didn't have any other English language certificate to show that. So by the time I got that rejection the first time, I went ahead to do my IELTS exam, and I have a video about how to prepare for your IELTS exam. If you haven't watched the video, I'm going to leave the link here. So after doing my IELTS exam, getting a good score that would be good enough to apply to universities and for scholarships, I then started my application again. And of course, this time around, it gave me a higher chance of actually receiving a fully funded scholarship, and that was what happened. Eventually I got a scholarship. So sometimes it could just be things like that, like maybe not having the right documents that you need to apply, and you need to just sit back, you need to go back and reflect on your application. You can have other people look at your application as well. Maybe, for example, unfortunately you couldn't get a feedback from the scholarship or the organization or the university, then you can call someone. Okay, can you have a look at this application with me? What do you think I probably did wrong? Let them have a look at the criteria and at your application, because most times if your application doesn't fit into the criteria, or if your application does not stand out enough, because there's a lot of competition, a lot of people are applying for the same scholarship. So just as you are aware, and as you are applying for a scholarship, there are other people that are also applying for that same scholarship. So sometimes it can be very, very competitive, and you just need to make your application stand out. Sometimes it might just be your experience that will make you stand out. Sometimes it could be your skills, sometimes it could be your volunteer work, sometimes it could be your grades. So it really depends on, you know, what the criteria is. So you have to go back and look at it. Okay, how can I make my application stronger? So it's just a time for you to reflect. So if you still feel led to keep applying for a scholarship maybe next year, then go for it. Don't give up. If I probably gave up after my 20 rejections, I probably wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have, you know, eventually gotten the fully funded scholarship I got. So sometimes it's not really about giving up, or it's not about feeling sad. I know that it can be really, really heartbreaking, you know, when you're really hoping for something and it doesn't turn out the way you hoped for. But sometimes these are just a way for us to learn something, to see it as a learning curve, as a learning experience. When I was going through those rejections, I probably didn't know that I was going to be able to share my story in a platform such as this to thousands of viewers who will be watching this or who will be listening to my story. But then it happened for that reason, so that I can be able to come and share my story to you guys and tell you about the mistakes I made, so that you guys can also watch out for those mistakes as well. So sometimes things just happen for a reason, because it's just for the glory of God to be revealed later on. So I just want you guys to feel encouraged about it, that it's time for you to just go back and think about, okay, what did I probably not do? And sometimes it could just be that you've done everything, you've ticked all the boxes, and it just probably isn't the time yet for you to go. And when it's actually the time, it will come easily. And that's one thing I truly believe in, that when it's actually God's time for you, things will come easily for you. So you just have to understand that and have that perspective and mindset. And I really hope that this video has encouraged you. I really hope that, you know, you've taken something away from this video, and I hope that you stay encouraged. And if you do want to apply for other scholarships and you have some questions, you can put your question down in the comment section. You can send me an email to ask your questions. I'm more than happy to answer your questions as well. And I have lots of other videos on my channel, helpful videos. If you're not sure how to apply for scholarship, if you're not sure how to write your personal statement, statements, if you're not sure how to, prepare for your IELTS exam, I have lots of videos, helpful videos on my channel, and even on other channels as well. You can find other helpful videos that you can watch and gain that understanding or that knowledge, and you can be able to fill in those gaps that you probably had in your previous application. So thank you guys so much for watching, and like I said earlier, I hope this video has encouraged you. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.